Let me be totally transparent and real here. I struggle with my fabric scrap situation here in my sewing room. You might remember last year when I tried to corral all of my fabric scraps by making all of them into pre-cut sizes, like 5-inch squares, 10-inch squares. I pre-cut a lot of strips. That worked okay for a while. In no time at all, my fabric scrap situation cycled around to one chaotic mess. I realized that in my sewing room, I don't like anything on the floor, like bins full of scraps. What else to do but to organize up? Using wall space is some of the best organization that you can do in places like a sewing room. Having all of my scraps in clear containers up on the wall so that I can see what I have, it's a game changer. I am sure to make many more things using my scraps up. At least that's the theory. I guess we won't know until next year's scrap video if this really did work. If you stay till the end, I'll show you how I take these on and off in an everyday situation of needing scraps. Enough talking already. Let's do this. You're going to need some thick, clear vinyl covering for this project. You know it's going to be strong enough if you go to pull on it and it really doesn't have any give at all, because some you can literally pull on and they will rip and tear. That's not the case with this thicker vinyl. I bought mine in a large package and it was just for like patio covering or to cover a grill. Whatever size you want your vinyl to be, you need to rough cut it first out of the big sheet. Vinyl tends to be very, very slippery. You want to make your first cut approximately 1 inch or so larger than your piece that you're going to use. My initial rough cut was approximately 30 inches long by 15.5 inches in width. Now remember, that's larger than what I needed. I'm going to show you on this small scale piece how I made these. Before you go in to make your precision cut, the cut that you actually need, you're going to need to iron out these wrinkles. When you iron out these wrinkles, you want to be very careful that you do not catch your hot iron on the actual vinyl itself. So you need to cover it first. You'll just lay your vinyl down, lay a scrap piece of fabric over top of it. On medium to high heat, go over this vinyl quickly. And I am putting some pressure on it. Hopefully you can see there how that took the wrinkles out. Where it was creased inside the package, you'll want to take note of because you don't want that on your finished product. Quickly and firmly. You can see there that that still is not right for me. So I'm going to go over that again. Concentrating just on that seam. It will become a little fluid right after you press it, but then it will stiffen right back up. Fold them in half by doubling them. Once I've folded it in half, my size for all of mine were 14.5 by 14.5, and that's folded. So you'll line your fold line up here. I'm going to use this to anchor. You can line something underneath it. With a dry erase marker, you can make the line. That will help you to see where you need to cut. So remember, your cut is going to be 14.5 by 14.5. Draw the line. Take out the paper. Now you can see that line is visible for me, and that's going to be much easier to cut on clear vinyl. Trust it. So what you want to do is just make sure your 14.5 is this way and that you have enough 14.5 that way. You want to flip it like this. This is the fold line. I've got the fold here. Again, I'm cutting off a lot extra here because this is just a smaller scale. And since you use dry erase marker, this simply just comes right off with a paper towel. So you should have folded now a perfect square. Hopefully you can see here that the back on all of mine are taller than the initial front area. And that's so we can put our hands in and out easily. It's not so closed in that you can't get to it. I've also put a nice curve right there so that it's just a little bit more, I don't know, I don't know why I put the curve in there, but I did. The main thing I want to show you with this example is that the back is higher than the front, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. My tiny example is 8.5 by 8.5 square, folded. Let me show you how I made the curve. Open up your piece of vinyl, fold it long ways like this. Match it up all along the side there. You can see the two pieces are together. The ones on my wall are approximately, on the folded long edge here, are 1 inch down, and that's where that cut would be. And I started up here in the very corner with my cut. And actually, let me turn this like so. It's easier for me to cut from the corner down to the center. I freehanded it. I held the plastic down with my fingers and I went from the corner with my rotary cutter and I just made a curve connecting those 2 dots until I got to there. So hopefully you can see that made a nice slight curve, and that was only 1 inch. I flip this around to the other end, fold it back up, and we're going to match up again on the sides there. We're folding along the long edge again, so you can see here. And you can mark this ahead of time. I did not, but you totally can. You are just simply going to come up and around. You are making a curve. I like a rounded corner, I don't know. And then I'm going to again hold down with my fingers and just follow along. And you can use a template if you need to, a little curved edge or something. And since this is dry erase, you can just take it right off. On one end, we have the curve. And on the other end, we have the curve going in. You fold these and meet these up together. These points right here, see where the curve goes down? That's the front. You want to bring that up until it matches pretty flush along the sides and to where this is up. And if I had to measure it from the back to where it dips right there, you're looking at 2 3/4 approximately in that space. Once you have it nice along the side there, you're going to clip that and clip this side, just like that. Hopefully you can see this really nice corner that this is going to give us here. That just allows for more scraps to go in this bag. This is the technique we're going to use. Take your folded end and you're going to fold it up 1 time 1 inch. So this is 1 inch right here, and I'm using the edge of my paper there. So you've taken the fold it up 1 inch. Clip it and clip it. If you want to go ahead and clip this middle area. So that is what we have so far. And this is folded up and we have all of our clips in. For the binding, you will need 2 inches wide by 43 inches long. And that's if you're making the 14.5 by 14.5 square folded piece like I did. Fold the binding in half and then press. And then what you're going to do is fold each side in to meet the middle. And then you will fold that in half. And how I did it was I just clipped all along the way, folding all along the way, and then I pressed at the end, but you can do it however you see fit. Now take the one end of your binding and fold it up so that the raw edge is not exposed, and then fold it back into place and attach it with a clip at the end of where you folded that plastic vinyl area, just like you see me doing in the video. And then you're going to clip all along the way, being sure that that vinyl edge is right up snug into that binding. Continue clipping all along the rounded top area of the vinyl until you get to the end. Guesstimate about 1 inch over and just clip it. And then you're going to fold that edge up to meet the edge of where you folded the vinyl at in the bottom there and clip it. Now take it to the sewing machine and sew as close as you can to that inner edge. And how I'm going to do that is to move my needle all the way to the left and then make sure it goes through all the layers, including both pieces of binding. To make sure the vinyl doesn't stick to the bed of your sewing machine, place a piece of scrap underneath the left side, just like you see how I have it here. That really did help, because if you don't do that, it will want to stick and then your needle will drag and so on and so forth. You get the idea. This is what you should have so far. You can see there the curves in the front. All the binding is nicely sewn on. Go ahead and unclip that bottom area where you folded it. Now it's time to box these corners out. Cold vinyl is not pliable, so we heat it up slightly so we can push each side of these corners out nicely. Just like you see me doing here in the video, you grab it, pull it through, and then you're going to put your hand inside of the pouch and sort of spread out that corner area. This makes a beautiful boxed out corner. The vinyl cools once again very quickly, so in the end you end up with this nice stiff corner. Continue by slightly heating up the other corner and popping it out just like the first one, and you end up with this beautiful boxed out bottom. This is sure to hold a ton of scraps. When it came to choosing the right hook for my fabric scrap wall of fame, I chose the hinge hook. That was very deliberate. I wanted to have some give when it came to taking these on and off of my wall. Another major consideration when choosing my hook, it had to be able to keep the weight of these containers on the wall. This blue bag right here weighs almost 4 pounds. Each one of my hooks could take up to 2 pounds of weight. So 2 pounds here and 2 pounds here. They haven't fallen off my wall yet, and they've been up there a few nights in a row. Even though it was 2 pounds here and 2 pounds here, as far as the hooks went, I still added a tiny hook in the middle because this is heavy. Check this out. There is a ton of give there, and that was deliberate as well. I could have made the binding go up here and make a loop for the attachment. These are going to be coming off and on. I wanted this to have give as well. I wanted to be sure that nothing was going to come undone, either it be the hook or whatever I used to loop on the back to attach it to the hook. I took some 1/4 inch in width elastic and I cut it at 2 inches each. Crisscrossing those elastics together in the back will ensure a nice hook on this hook when I go to hook it. As a side note, go ahead and zigzag the crisscrossed elastic together first and then clip it to your bag. Use a zigzag stitch to attach those elastics on the binding part, the top part of your container. It's important to note that your wall must be very clean before you go ahead and put your command strips on your wall. If you hadn't noticed already, I placed my scrap pouches up on the wall in color order. The one thing that I did differently, because it is so hard for me to decipher between blue-green and green-blue colors, I made 2 separate pouches in one pouch in order to help me choose the scraps that I need when I need them. This one right here has more of a turquoisey greenish side, and this one has more of a aqua blue side. There's a definite difference. Typically when I go to search my scraps out, it's hard for me to decipher between the two. So if I have them already separated, that's a winner for me. The dimensions are just a little bit different on this one, and you'll need to decide for yourself how you would like to make yours. How practical is this going to be when I need a red scrap per se? Well, let's find out. So I need some red scrap, so I'm going to simply grab it, pull it off. That seemed okay. Set it on my table, which we already have the boxed out corners on the bottom, so that's going to help for it to sit wherever it is. Go through what you need, take them all out if you want, and put them all back in. Lift it up and simply just add the one side on and then the other side. And that's it. Practical. So what do you all think of my fabric scrap wall of fame, not shame? You let me know in the comments. I have so much more I want to share with you. Click on one of the videos on your screen right now so we can keep learning together. Until next time on the Sewing Channel, take care.